Hey, what's going on, everybody? Before we get into the video, I just wanted to take a second to say that if you're enjoying me talking the climb with all these esports professionals, make sure that you hit the subscribe button down below and share it with your friends to watch. And if there's any particular person that you would like to see me interview, feel free to comment down below or reach out to me via my social media. You can find the links in the description. And now, without any further ado, let's get right into the episode. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Talking the Climb with me, CA. Today I have the one and only from Velocity Gaming, HellFFR. It's really exciting to have you here, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for inviting me. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Thank you for coming here. It's really nice to get that opportunity to talk with you. Honestly, I've wanted to talk with you since you moved from Global Esports to Velocity Gaming, and it's been really interesting. But before we get to that, let's just talk about you first. Like, tell me a bit more about HellFFR. Like, who really is HellFFR, and what does HellFFR mean?
HellFFR is a, you can say, introvert guy, and I have been playing competitively for around, if you take CS also, for
Mm-hmm.
about 5 years, 5 to 6 years. Before that, HellFFR, the name, I don't remember actually how I got it. I just got it, and I just made a short form HellFFR to HellF. That's it.
I mean, fair enough. You've, as you said, you've been playing competitive for 5 years, right? And you've
Yep.
carried that name through that 5 years. So at this point, it's sort of a little bit like tradition, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I totally understand. Like, firstly, before I found my own name, I was carrying a very similar name, so it makes a lot of sense, you know. But on
Yeah.
that note, like you said, you're a very introvert guy. So like immediately segueing into that, how does it feel like living with like your teammates? Like more importantly, like players like Excali who like I've seen on stream like very much outspoken, like extrovert almost I would say in comparison to you.
I'll tell you, if I'm a type of introvert, if I know someone, I can be like friendly and outrovert to them.
Uh huh.
But if I don't know someone, or if I'm streaming, it's kind of difficult for me to talk, to connect to people.
Mm-hmm.
And Xkelly, and one fun thing is Xkelly and me, we both are roommates. It's like the
Okay.
opposite. He's the he's the outgoing guy. He talks so much, and I'm the introvert guy. So it's and I knew everyone from the start, also from the CS:GO scene. So I didn't have any issue with them.
That's amazing. Like, how does it feel like fitting into the team though? Because like they've had a bunch of time together. You're obviously the star signing. You know, one could say like you're the player that one of the best players from one of their rival teams that they got for themselves, and your addition sort of just makes Velocity unstoppable. Like, how does it feel like coming into a team like that? Were you ever nervous, for example? Like, does it ever feel like you have a lot of expectations on you?
Kinda. I was nervous when I was shifting,
Mm-hmm.
like when everything was going on, when I had to decide what to do. But I thought that it'll be less competitive if I join Velocity.
Okay.
So I thought, because if there is Velocity, there when they were Velocity and I was in Global, there was a gap. There was a gap in between us and them, because they have been playing the game for so long. They've been watching demos. They've been playing together.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that if I join them, and as a profession, I didn't take anything. I took it as a profession only, and I thought if I join them, the competition will be a bit lower,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And I will play better.
That's really interesting because when you think about it, like for you personally at least, like you're going from a guaranteed spot in a five-man roster to like competing for a spot in that six-man roster, right? So like, like you said that for you it feels like it's sort of just easier in terms of the team, in terms of competition. So like, how does that work? Like, how does it work being in a six-man roster? Um, does the extra like competition make you a better player?
Yes, of course, it makes a better player. But the thing is, for right now, the TC challenge, Series 4 and the PvP, we are focusing on that, and we are gonna play without VVOD.
Okay.
This the two events, which is why we are doing this boot camp right now in
Mm-hmm.
Hyderabad. So we're focusing on that as the 5 players. We are here in the boot camp right now, and after that we don't know what is gonna happen. it depends on each player and the owner, like how they want to play. If someone is not fitting in, we're gonna switch.
Yeah.
We're gonna try different agents for different players. Let's see.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. You want to take everything step by step, and then depending on what happens, of course, you can reevaluate and focus elsewhere. But I really like the idea of right now, there's two important tournaments on the horizon. We're going to take this roster and focus on those two important tournaments. But to pick up on something you said, like about multiple players playing different agents, that's been one of sort of Velocity's trademarks in that every single player in that team can pick up any agent and play it. And for you personally, I've seen you from series 1 in like on playing Phoenix to transitioning to that Cypher role. So for Hellfighter, what role does Hellfighter like to play? What role would you ideally play in the perfect team?
I think I have two in mind. I can be a controller, like the smoke agent for the
Mm-hmm.
team, or a sentinel. And I
Okay.
think that's where my strength lies. I can be the third guy. I can help the team to take control, or if I'm the sentinel, I can lurk better as an individual, and I can make space for my team.
So why do you think, like, because a lot of like, I think a very like standing sentiment in the Indian community or even the Asia Pacific community has been that we have a ton of duelists but barely any controller or sentinel, like good controller or sentinel players, you
Yeah.
know. What do you think, like, as a person sets you apart as a controller sentinel player? Like, why do you think you gravitate towards that more like team oriented role as compared to this single duelist, I'm going to top frag every single time role?
I'll tell you, because in CS:GO also my role was just to support. I didn't have that much mechanics that which Deathmaker had or SKWC had, like other individual had. But I had the game sense a bit better, and so I thought I can be a better duelist. I had the utility uses, so and I started playing Cypher because I thought that was the most difficult hero at that time when the game launched. And I started playing it. I thought if I master Cypher, I can play any other hero better. And mostly everyone asks me that if you are playing Cypher, show us some cameras, show us some trips. And I'm gonna be frank, I don't have anything set up.
Ah.
Like I don't have any camera set up, I don't have any trip set up. I just do it on the fly, whatever I feel like, or wherever I feel like I put my trip. So it's very like I'm that's I think that's what differentiates from me or from other
Yeah.
ciphers, because everyone is like they will watch videos and they will do it in the game, and if it works, it works. And I will watch video. I don't It's not like that I don't watch videos. I also watch new camera spots, new tripwires. But the thing is, I do what I do in the game. It depends on the opponents, how they're playing.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because, like, one of my biggest issues with Cypher or even Killjoy, as a caster, it always has been that time and time again you see these players just repeating the same lineups round after round, and that really just becomes predictable and takes away the whole power of the Sentinel, which is just
Yeah.
being able to deny a sight. And yeah, on that note, like, I saw your debut with Velocity, you could definitely say that, right? Like, the way you play the cipher, it really says that you're extremely comfortable with that, and it's really nice to see that coming in. But what I'm curious about is you said that as a person in esports, your biggest sort of edge is your game sense, like the way you understand the game, the way you approach the game. How does that like feel in being with a team with such a top like player like Amitarasu, whose game sense is like
Yeah.
lauded all around?
So the thing is, I'll tell you, everyone in my team right now has more, like in the bootcamp right now, the four players has more experience than me, has better shooting and everything than me. But the thing is, playing Sentinel is a like different kind of job.
Mm-hmm.
And Amaterasu is a good IGL, he's a good in-game leader and is a very good player. And Right to is also is a very good, what you can say, the brain, one of the
Yeah.
brains of the team, Right to is and Amaterasu. So playing Sentinel, I think that is where my strength lies, because playing Cypher is, you can't IGL and play a Cypher at the same time. It's
Mm-hmm.
very difficult unless you are the FNS, that guy from
Yeah.
Envious.
Yeah.
He's the IGL of the team and he's a Cypher. So it's very difficult. And whatever we are doing, and I'm playing in my comfort zone. They're giving me space. Telling me whatever you think, you do it, and they're giving me my space. Whatever, if I made a mistake, they're gonna tell me. They're gonna tell me what can be done at that moment, and that's how it works.
Yeah, that's really nice. It's sort of like, as you said, Cypher or even Killjoy, like the Sentinel role, it's more about like just guarding your territory, but guarding your territory to perfection. So it's really nice to see that you're sort of being given the freedom to do that, but at the same time, like freedom with oversight, that with the fact that all of you as a team obviously want to grow. On that note, like with the idea of growth, talk to me a bit more about the transfer coming in from global esports to velocity, because as you said, like you're relatively new to the scene compared to the players you did join.
Yes.
Was that ever like an influence in the decision to join velocity? Like what was the primary idea for hellfighter? Like what were you looking for in velocity?
Mostly I was looking for a team which I can compete internationally, and I thought like in global I switched because I thought that we can do in I also had in global esports. We had SK Rossi, we had Head Ranger, we had Kappa, and we had skills. So everyone we can do it, but it will take time for
Mm-hmm.
because Velocity was a bit ahead of us.
Yeah.
So I thought it will be what I guess a selfish decision maybe. But I thought it'll be smarter to join Velocity because they're already ahead, and if I go there, I'm gonna learn from them how what to do, how to approach or whatever. And if I stay in global, we can learn together. Like we have to gain experience, and if I join Velocity, they already have the experience, and they're gonna just tell me what to do, and they're gonna teach me, and it will be much easier for me
Yeah, so it just sort of gives you more opportunity to grow as a
as an
personal player
individual.
yourself. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't think it's selfish necessarily. I think it's smart, as you said, because for me, like, one should always, especially in a growing esports community like India, one should always try to take the fastest path to growth yourself. Because I personally see a lot of potential in Indian players. I just think that the thing is lacking is that like not enough players like take it as a serious profession,
Serious.
and
Yes.
that you can see in velocity. Like you can really see like they're very dedicated to the sport in general, and that's really beautiful to watch. Do you like appreciate that sentiment? Like does that make stuff harder to you, like the amount of fans, the support you have, or does it sort of like motivate you to be even better?
Of course it motivates us individually, me also, because after I joined Velocity, there's a lot of people who messaged me like congrats, and there are a lot of people who messaged me like why did you leave, you're being selfish and whatever. So I ignored them and I focused on whatever the positive things which everyone is saying, and it is always motivating for not only me but all the players, the fans which are helping us and cheering for us in the chat or what in Instagram everywhere. So
Yeah.
it's, yeah, it motivates us a lot.
That's really nice to hear for me, and I'm sure for like the fans watching this video too, because for them it's all about like you're sort of their idols in the sense that they want to be just as close, but since they can't, they appreciate how much you sort of dedicated to the art and continuously just delivered to them in terms of entertainment. So that's really, really nice to hear. I think we've talked a significant bit about like global esports and velocity and the entire idea of esports. So I want to take a step back and just come back to Valorant. So like, talk to me a bit more about the entire idea of switching to Valorant from CS:GO. As you said, you have a considerable amount of experience in CS:GO, and it's not like the CS:GO esports scene completely went away. It's just like the CS:GO scene did go down a little bit. So was that an influence shifting to Valorant?
Yes, it was a major factor, and the way the Valorant scene was blooming in not only in India but in Asia, and so that gave me a like I thought if I don't switch now, because if I don't get the head start now, I might have played CS:GO for 1 2 years for now, but after that for the long run, I think it might be bad for me because if I switch late, there might be already players. What already happened in CS:GO when I came,
Yeah.
they were already top tier players who were playing, and I like it took me very long time to be on the top two team or top team. So I thought it was smart, and yeah, that's it. I thought it will be helpful for me individual, so I switched.
Yeah, I really think that makes a lot of sense because of the idea that I think for me, the primary difference between CSGO and Valorant is that in Valorant, who you are as a player really matters. Like the entire conversation we had about you appreciating the sentinel and controller role more, like the identity of an individual player is much more obvious in Valorant, and coming into the game late inherently would make it that much more difficult for you to find your comfort within the game. So yeah, it's really nice to see a top tier player like you making that decision to switch and acknowledging where the right path is for him, right? So in Valorant, now that you've sort of mastered Cypher, you're one of the best Cypher players in Asia Pacific without a doubt. Where are your sights next? Like which agent are you looking at next?
Right now, I'll tell you one thing. I have tried Killjoy,
Okay.
and I don't think like we have tried Killjoy multiple times, and I don't think me personally and the team is comfortable right now with Killjoy,
Uh huh.
and so we are not focusing on Killjoy right now. But we might have like in future, fortune future, because the update which came,
Yeah.
which really like nerfed the sentinels,
Yeah.
both of them. And if you compare, I think Cypher is still better than
Yeah.
Killjoy right now because of the range and everything. So yeah, mostly if you can see me play Omen maybe, yeah, a controller maybe future, if not a Sentinel. If Sentinel fully goes out of meta, then you can see me playing Omen maybe.
That would be a really curious beta, I think, because Sundos, they've been like Cypher has been one of the most picked agents in casual and competitive play ever
Yes,
since
yes.
beta. But like it's definitely possible because that also like sets us up really well for what I wanted to ask you next, which is where do you think the meta lies? Like we were talking earlier about like how you and the team you see a lot of international matches and how different like the tournaments in Asia Pacific are to like first strike tournaments say in NA or EU. Like do you think there is a gap between those teams or do you think the approach is just very different?
I don't think there's a gap in between the teams. They're very like right now Valorant is a very new game, so everyone is like toe to toe, like very close to each other. Let it be the number one team of NA or the number one team of Asia Pacific.
Mm-hmm.
So the approach of the game is really different. Like we watch demos of international teams like Sentinel or everything, and when we scrim, we watch them and we try to learn everything, how they're approaching, how they're taking this control, and everything. And while we play against when we are scrimming, we play against a top tier SA team,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like it's totally different. They won't let you execute. They were like they will rush you in your face. It's kind of frustrating. In the script we try to practice what we learned in the theory and we are trying to do it, and they're like nope, we're not gonna let you do that. They're gonna come in your face, and that's the meta. Like the approach is fully different in SEA. They're mostly they're gonna play fully on shooting based. Not gonna give you a single bit of respect. Not
Uh-huh.
only Asia, in full, you can say Asia, and it's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine, right? Because you're like, hey, let me practice, but they just constantly in your face. And that's
Mm.
really curious too, because in NA and EU, it's sort of the opposite, and not exactly, but like in the sense that they very much prefer rotations. They're more like, hey, we'll make a play here, and then we'll try to use that
They give
play.
you respect.
Yeah.
They gives the opponent not that much respect that they're gonna let you come and kill you. Not like that, but they're gonna give you the respect. What if your team is taking a certain map control, a certain place? So the guy who's standing alone in NA or U, he's not gonna go alone and kill 2 to 3 guys. He's gonna stay. He's gonna hold because the rest of the team is making a play.
Yeah.
And in ACA, that's not the case. If the 3 guys are making a play, the guy who's alone, he's also gonna make a play. So if he gets a kill, it's like it's a bonus. They win the round.
Uh-huh.
And if he dies, it's like you lose that part of the map control as well.
That's really interesting. So I think generally too in other esports like League of Legends, that sort of has been the mentality of like say Chinese and Southeast Asian teams as compared to Western teams. They're very much more proclivious to going for that brawling style of play, the more coin flip style of play. And on that note, like where do you think velocity lies? Obviously, like you guys are still trying to figure out exactly what your identity and what your style is. But do you prefer the sort of, hey, I'm gonna give my opponents that respect sort of and go for the rotational plays, except that sometimes you can't take a side? Or do you like nah, play like the anti style where it's like instant EQ dash in, kill everybody?
So the thing is, with mostly the strategical type, like approaching the game slowly, taking control and complete control. Mostly we focus on that only. But it depends on how Amaterasu is gonna call.
Uh-huh.
So if he's seeing how the opponents are playing, if he knows that they are like aggressing too much, they are not letting us take our defaults or anything. So after that we're just going like Asia type. Let's go YOLO and get them.
I mean, that's really cool because that means that you have both of the possibilities in your playbook. And
Exactly.
with Amaterasu's like knowledge, and I feel like he just sort of is able to read the opponent's minds. You can execute on either strategy, and that just makes you really scary as a team. That's a lot about Valorant, and like what I want to ask you is back to like the topic of Hellfighter, because like every sports athlete, every esports athlete, they usually have some sort of superstition, some habit, like something you do before a game starts, like something you look for. It can be as simple as like, hey, I'm gonna go to aim labs and try to get some practice in. It can be something as weird as, for example, Sami liked meditation. So like, where is your like niche? Like what do you like doing before like getting into a competitive game just to get your head into that right mind space?
If I'm playing a, I don't think I have anything if I'm doing scrim or anything. Mostly, if I'm playing a tournament match before that, I listen. I have a like a set playlist songs which I listen to a lot while if I'm playing a tournament match to get that rush.
Yeah,
So that's it.
that's really cool. So you have a very specific playlist. Is that playlist available to the public, or is that something very much you're gonna keep for
Yeah,
yourself?
it's a personal. It's very much private.
Alright, so fair enough. Like you don't want to reveal what is really that gets you hyped up, you know? So keep it for yourself. On that note, like you're an Immortal player right now, right?
Yes.
So how hard was it getting to that status in solo queue? Because for a lot of people watching here, like till I think the plat diamond area, it's much more about skill. But after that, it becomes a question of how you coordinate with your team, how you're able to make the right callouts, etc. So like, how hard was your climb? And is there any tips that you can give to anybody else looking to get to that immortal status?
The thing is, my climb wasn't that hard
Okay.
because mostly whenever I've played with my friends.
Uh huh.
And my because whenever I played it at least two man or three man or four man, mostly five man. So wherever we are playing five man. We know each other, we know how we play, and it's easier to play like that. So the tip which I'm gonna give is like it's better to play with friends, not to play solo.
Yeah, try to network as much as possible, find
Yeah.
people like-minded like you, and then continue from there. Yeah, that makes a
Yes.
lot of sense. And that's really cool. Just a couple of questions. We're approaching the end, and before we get to that, like I want to get your thoughts. Velocity was not participating in Series 3, right? So I just want to get the idea, like, how was it watching all of these teams play? Like, did you feel a little restless, like, damn, I wish I could be beating these? Like, look, what is this guy doing? I could have done this so much better. Stuff like that. Like, does that sort of motivate you extra for this Series 4?
Of course it does. And I have like Velocity like before while I joined them, they were already on a break on
Yeah.
the October month. So I when I came, we practiced for like 2 weeks and we had a break because everyone was traveling and we had Durga Puja, in Kolkata.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't watch much matches, but when the last final matches and everything, I watched it and I wanted to play because it was a final match of TEC and we have been playing TEC all the TEC matches, the all the matches the sports clubs are hosting. So Yeah, we missed it. Everyone missed it. Everyone was talking that we should have played, and but what you will see in the series 4, you will like you will appreciate that we have missed the series 3 because of that.
I'm already getting goosebumps. I cannot wait because I'm going to be casting most of the games live, and it's going to be a treat personally for me to see because I've also heard this from Sentinel. This the team sort of just taking that break to sort of reinvigorate the spirit within yourselves and be like, yes, we're back and we're back with a bang, and that's going to be amazing. So, like, just to close it off, what can we expect from Velocity for India? As in, like, where do you think Velocity Gaming can take India into the future with Hellfighter in that squad?
Right now, as you say, if my focus and the team's focus are mostly same. Right now, our focus is PvP, and if we win the PvP event, so we're gonna be mostly ACA number one. So that's our sweet spot right now, which we want. And after that, in Asia number one. That's the far we have like we have calculated, and
Mm-hmm.
we as a team we thought we can go there, and yeah, that's it in the Asia number one spot for right now.
All right. I mean, I heard it from you. So I'm gonna keep your word for it. I'm gonna look over the next 6 months to 1 year for Velocity
Yeah.
Gaming to get to that Asia number one spot, and I definitely believe you can do it because even like without your addition to the team looks scary. But
Yes.
personally, like having seen you from Series One, like I was one of the first casters who was slightly like off put by your switch from like a duelist in Phoenix to like Cypher. But as we got to see you play that Cypher more, it's as you said, right? The Cypher, when you're playing it, it's very much your Cypher, not just any Cypher. It's like you approach the game with your idea, your style, and your personality, and that just sort of adds that extra edge to it, which makes you unpredictable and so much harder to beat. So Hellfighter, that's definitely going to be a scary look with Velocity going into PvP, and I'm looking forward to it. So just to finish us off, is there anything you want to say to all the fans out there supporting you? Anything that they can look forward to you coming from the future, or just like a thank you perhaps for the amount of support?
I'm gonna just say a huge shout out to all the fans who have been supporting each one of us throughout, and hopefully you guys gonna support us in the TEC4 and the PvP also. And a huge shout out to Corsair, our sponsor.
Yeah, and actually, that's really nice. I completely forgot that you guys recently got Corsair as a sponsor.
Yes.
So congratulations from my end too, because
Thank you.
definitely deserved. And I hope there are many more to come in the future. No, 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 strike that. I don't hope. I know there are many more to come in the future. So I look forward to the official announcements for those.
Cool.
But once again, thank you so much for joining us, Hellfighter. This was Talking the Climb with CA and Hellfighter, and I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot more of each other in the future. So looking forward to that.
Yes. Thank you for having me. And next stop is TEC Series 4.
All right, let's go. Thank you for watching this episode of Talking the Climb with me and Hellfighter. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to check out any of my other content, over here you can find my episode of Talking the Climb with SS Sami, and over here you can find my demo casting reel. Down below, you can see the subscribe button come up on your screen, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and share it with your friends. I'll see you soon with the next video on my channel.